Welcome or welcome back to the Football Card Quest, everybody. Today we're diving into the football card market data based on the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. Right now is a perfect time, whether you're a collector or an investor, to buy and sell certain football cards based on the player performances and the playoff outcomes. So let's dig in. First off, let's recap the wild card round. We saw some thrilling games. Teams like the Commanders really surprised me on Sunday night, and what was an absolutely thrilling game. Jaden Daniels really shined in that game. You also had guys really bounce back, like CJ Stroud in this game against the Chargers, Josh Allen doing his thing, Lamar Jackson doing his thing. You had a good bounce back game in this Eagles game here from Jalen Hurts. Matt Stafford and the Rams defense taking care of business here against Minnesota. And these performances can significantly impact their card values. So first off, let's talk about when to sell, because right now is a great time to sell, especially if you've been holding cards of players who performed well in the wild card round. It might be time to cash in, because tip number one is to capitalize on hype. I mean, you want to sell cards of players who have had breakout performances, and while their hype is at its peak is when you're going to get your best prices. So we have to really kind of look at the data here on Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, both MVP candidates, both in the running here to knock off the Chiefs, potentially make it to the big game here. And let's look at their cards. So let's just start off with the base donors, because as an iconic rated rookie logo and a PSA 10 slab, which is the hobby's most popular, best condition grade. Then, most widely known. It's much harder to get a gold label BGS Pristine 10 or a CGC Pristine 10. So let's look at these. Right now, Lamar Jackson is 144 compared to the trend of Josh Allen at 197, both up over 30%. If we go and pull the 2-year chart in, you can see that Josh Allen is seeing a big increase here, but maybe not quite as what it could get up to if you look at the end of January. So if they can get past the divisional round here, then all of a sudden we could see this card get up to, you got to rule that one out there. Let's take that one out of consideration. We could see this card get up to that $300 price point with a population of 9,548. Whereas let's look at Lamar Jackson's 2-year, and yes, he is up over the course of the season here very nicely. If you go back to the beginning of the season, just kind of take an average there of about $85, and you can see now we're at that $150 range. But man, look at the playoffs last year, $150. So we're very close to that peak value in the past 2 years. And as you can see, a Josh Allen auction that closed this morning for $194.49 is very fair, right? Obviously, if you've got good profit, you could sell it at that, but I would be trying to sell that for more in that $250 range. This is going to be a close game. It really comes down to how much profit you have in that card, and then also evaluating your collection. So this is going to be tip number 2. If you have multiples or duplicates of Josh Allen who aren't, really rare cards, then I would consider selling them right now, especially if you bought in, like Lamar Jackson. If you bought in back at before the season started at $85, and now you could get $150 to $200, then I would consider selling that now, taking a nice profit. And obviously that rule is going to apply across the board, whether you've got a Prism PSA 10, a Prism Silver, a variety of different very popular cards for these players, because only one of them is going to make it to the next round. And look, you've got a base Donruss PSA 10 selling for $170. So that's right in line where we see these prices at now, the current trend. I mean, look at that, $150 back on Jan 6. So going up to now $170, it looks like there is some expectation that he's going to make it to the championship round here and beat the Bills. I think from looking at the Vegas odds here, Baltimore is the favored team. So I would consider selling the Lamar Jackson. You've got over 100% profit from before the season if you bought then, and if you've got duplicates, especially more common cards like the base Donruss, definitely want to sell them because there's no guarantee they're going to make it out of Buffalo and make it to the next round. Let's look at his optic here, rated rookie, and see what that card's up at over a 2-year span. Yeah, it's really bounced around a lot, man. There's so many times you could have bought that card at a nice profit. Look at that midseason dip back in 2023, and then again the off-season dip there in June at 130. Then you had quite a bit of bouncing around here during the season, but you could have got that card at some points for 86 or, well, there's 150. There's some weird goofy transactions is pulling in there. I'm not sure what those are about, but if we look at something like September 29th for 128, that's obviously a good indication of where that card was true market value when you look at auctions. Now you have that at 164 at the end of December, and now you're looking at the latest transactions of $230, $215, $220. And we confirmed here we have a $280 auction on that card that ended yesterday. So obviously, you once again, you've got 100% profit, 100% profit in this card. You know, the card's doubled in value. Look, here's even a buy it now yesterday, $250, another auction at $240. And, you know, that card has got a population of 2,595. It's very popular. It's a chrome stock finish card with the iconic rated rookie logo in a PSA 10 slab. Great card to consider selling. And same thing goes for the skill position players on both of these teams. You know, Curtis Samuel had a spotlight game last week with a nice touchdown and stood out as the Bills' top wide receiver in this game. And as a result, you know, obviously not very high prices compared to. He's also a 2017 rookie, so he's a veteran player at this point and has been very spotty in his career in terms of, you know, workload and production and stuff. So some of these auctions and prices have gone quite low. If the Bills advance, Curtis Samuel has another big game. These prices go up. He's a flip candidate. He's also a sell candidate if you've held for a while. Maybe got some really dirt cheap stuff on him. And we kind of talked about it, but my third tip on selling is timing. You know, timing is key. And Sam Darnold's a primary example of that because after a win, you know, prices may rise. But if they lose, you got to be mindful of the potential fluctuations in future rounds. And we're seeing that with Sam Darnold. You know, his cards are really just kind of falling off a cliff. So if we go back to the 2018 draft class and we pull in Sam Darnold and also pull in Baker Mayfield, I was really impressed by Baker. And we'll talk about buying strategy here in just a second. So make sure you guys stick around. But let's pull in Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. You can see how Baker Mayfield was one of the highest transacted based Donruss PSA 10s in the past 180 days. His cards hung in there with Allen and Jackson. They are a lot cheaper, but you can see those went up from an average of 38 to a new trend of 51 over 180 days, so over a 6-month period. So basically, since before the season till now. And the same thing can be said for Sam Darnold's Prism. That card went up quite a bit, and Sam Darnold's base Donruss. And so you can see those Darnolds and those Bakers really about the same price there. And if we kind of look at Baker's 2-year trend, he's up a little bit. See, latest January 11th, January 6th. Buy it now is a $50 base Donruss. Let's see how that has increased since the loss against the Commanders in a narrow game. But he had some highlight real plays, especially that run up the middle where he bulldozed over Bobby Wagner. It was an absolutely incredible run by Baker Mayfield. And overall, solid game, man. A game came down to a couple plays where the Commanders got the last word. I mean, it was a slugfest. That was, honestly, it was the best game of the weekend. So let's look at this real quick to give you guys an idea of what happens after you get eliminated from a playoff round. Is Baker Mayfield prices going to dip that much when they're already fairly low? And this is when I would encourage you guys to look at a couple different price tiers of cards. So yeah, we do see it kind of fall back here. We see the buy it now still hanging in there at 55. So this is post-loss. It's now Friday, January 17th. This transaction was Wednesday's for 55. I think he's going to hang in there this offseason. And that's kind of leads into one of my buying tips, buying strategies. I mean, he's an undervalued player. I mean, he had a good season, but he's overlooked in a lot of ways due to the team market of the Buccaneers and just the fan base size, and also the fact they're eliminated from the playoffs right now, and people are hyper focused on the teams in the playoffs. So this could be a good time to target him, as you can see in auction, because the auction dipped considerably lower than the buy it now. You got a nice discount on that auction right there. Same thing. Look, Optic Hollow PSA 10, great card because it's just an optic with the silver prism finish. So if we pull in and we type in here, Optic Hollow, Panini Donruss Optic. Let's see what we got here. Sam Darnold Optic Hollows were up 50% over 6 months at a trend of 160 compared to, look at Josh Allen's, man, up to $1,300. Lamar Jackson's up to $850-ish. But Baker Mayfield's only up 10% to 150 with a previous average of 135. The 2-year average is 111. So really, I mean, buying it at 160 is not bad. You're definitely, a lot of people probably have profit in at 160. I mean, let's go back to the preseason here. There's a buy it now for 50. There's a couple buy it nows for 50. I don't think they're going to get that low again. So obviously, if you're buying them last off season till now, you've got over 100% profit. Nice flip there. Potentially could buy back in later this off season for him as well. And then I look at let's look at some of these prices here throughout the season. Yeah, he did pretty well throughout the season here. And yeah, so you see the prices for him are kind of hanging in there, whereas I would be selling Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold's not locked in on a contract. You know, Sam Darnold is going to be a free agent, and Sam Darnold, he really kind of flamed out, man. He did not have a good finish to the season or in the playoffs. Not good. And with J.J. McCarthy on the squad, the Vikings already signed a veteran in Brett Ripien to complement who was Nick Mullins and J.J. McCarthy on the roster now. So they're beefing up their quarterback depth chart. It looks like an anticipation that they're going to let Sam Darnold walk. Where he goes, I don't know. Does he qualify as a starting quarterback somewhere? I think so, because I think he could be better than a lot of other players out there. I mean, even look at the Dak Prescott and the Cowboys situation. So, there's situations where Sam Darnold could go and start that could be beneficial, but at the same time, he could go places where he has to compete and maybe doesn't get to start. I think you've got a lot of profit in Sam Darnold right now. If we pull on his chart, it hasn't been nearly as steady as Baker Mayfield. He's only got a population of 130 on this card. But look at this. November 17th, could have got this card for $55. And right now, they're still selling at, that was January 4th at $200. So nice triple up there. But if we pull in 2018 Sam Darnold to look at the latest and greatest, sometimes it takes our app a few days to catch up. You know, there's a lot of algorithms and codes that ties that in between eBay and it. So let's look. Still 43 on the base Donruss PSA 10. Let's see if we can find some optic here. Let's go ahead and type in optic in our search bar. And of course, we're looking at sold transactions here on eBay. And we have somebody with Jan 12th and they're not buying them unless they're in auction here. You can see there hasn't been a lot of optic PSA 10s rolling out this week for good reason. And no optic hollows, and people aren't really buying them in by now. So that's what I'm saying. Timing is key. I mean, Sam Darnold's stuff has really fallen off a cliff in terms of just demand right now. People are really in a wait and see pattern for Sam Darnold. By the way, guys, real quick, if you like that application that you saw, we're pulling the data and we're comparing all the different card prices and being able to narrow down to specific players and sets, make sure you check out www.slabhawk.com and check that service out. It's very affordable, as low as like $5 per month, and very cool tool. There's a lot of interesting little little tools within that as well, and we're just looking at one feature of it. So back to the action. For example, if we come over to the players tab here of slabhawk.com, you've got basically our hype rank, which is an algorithm that kind of calculates the player performance plus the current power ranking of the team and how many cards are selling on eBay and buy it now over a 24-hour period, and a lot of those things are going into it. So as you can see, if we sort by eBay sold, these are buy it nows that have occurred in the past 24-hour period. CJ Stroud leading the way at 519, but with the current power ranking of the Lions, you have, in their matchup against the Commanders, you actually have Jahmyr Gibbs here at number 1, followed by Joe Burrow at number 2. And, man, Joe Burrow had a phenomenal finish this season. And CJ Stroud at number 3 currently. CJ Stroud dipped significantly there towards the end of the season. He was a nice mid-season dip buy because we're looking at the current playoff standings right now. Right now is a great time to sell CJ Stroud if you bought him earlier in the season. But what if he beats the Chiefs? If they knock off the Chiefs here, that would be incredible. CJ Stroud cards go up even more. And he's got a lot of cards, as you can see over here on this far right. But you will see that happen. So talking about timing. I mean, right now is a great time to capitalize on Jahmyr Gibbs. Another great time to capitalize on CJ Stroud. And Bryce Young climbing. This is a buying tip. So if you're looking at buying, Bryce Young is absolutely a buy right now, guys. He finished the season very strong. He's out of the playoffs, so there is a lot of unknown about Bryce Young heading into next year. But, I mean, this guy is finally a rising player. So tip number 1 in buying right now is target rising players. He had impressive games. He finished the season strong, but he's not quite a household name or hobby household name yet. That makes him a great investment, especially if you compare his prices to CJ Stroud and you find that he's just astronomically lower. For example, we have Bryce Young downtown at $400 PSA 9. Solid investment. Let's go. What is a 2023 CJ Stroud downtown PSA 9? Let's see what the latest one of that sold for here. These are all optic, but here we have an 885, so twice as much. Another one, January 12th, 881, so twice as much. Let's also pull in what an Anthony Richardson is. That's another great comparison. And then a Jahmyr Gibbs. Why not? I mean, so Anthony Richardson's about the same price right now, and he finished the season on a terrible note, man. Being benched in just the bad look of pulling himself out of games and just lackluster performances. I mean, terrible finish, terrible 2024 for Anthony Richardson. And then you go, and what you also do is, like we said, we'll pull in Jahmyr Gibbs, and we'll see what his downtown PSA 9 is at here. And it's slightly higher than Bryce Young. So that running back to quarterback comparison should be, generally speaking, the running back should always be lower. But like I said, the team fan base and the team power rankings and the team situation and the production output and the presence in the playoffs are a big impact here. And you have to kind of look at each one of these players in their own position, kind of silo them, right? Because a quarterback is a totally different position and positional rankings in the NFL than the running backs are for different reasons, a lot of different reasons, like we talked about, but it's more than that. The type of highlights they generate is different. The type of social media buzz they generate is different. Their personalities are different. So there's a lot of different factors that go into that. We've done a lot of videos on deep dives on, so make sure you check out the channel. But as you can see, this quantifies the investment point for Bryce Young. And then you can pop over to Slabhawk and you can pull these guys in on the app. And this is always sorted by their sales. So, it's kind of sorted by what cards sell the most or have the most transactions. These are very liquid cards. So let's pull in Bryce Young. Let's pull in Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's go pull in Jahmyr Gibbs here. Let's also pull in Anthony Richardson. And let's pull in CJ Stroud. And let's look at the price differences between these guys. I mean, look at the dip on Anthony Richardson's Optic Hollow PSA 10 to a new trend of $50. You want to go out on a limb. I wouldn't over leverage yourself. It does make sense because of his athletic profile to have some exposure to an Optic Hollow PSA 10 at 50, but at the same time would not over leverage. But like for CJ Stroud, for example, yeah, I mean, if he really look at the dip over a 6-month time period, I mean, that's crazy, guys. So if he knocks off the Chiefs here in this playoff, you're going to make money even at what you're buying right now, closing out auction, because you go look at this, and we just looked at the 2018 draft class. You saw how Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold at this 140 price point. I know these guys have 4 times as many different rookie cards, but the fact remains this is still a very liquid card. And it's still, I mean, look at the pop, 2,505. It's not insane. You know, it's not crazy. Good grade rate, too, here. We also track the percentage of cards that are converted from raw to PSA 10. So 60%. Nice. But yeah, just historically, I mean, CJ Stroud being still so young, the Texans have chance to kind of make history here. If they can knock off the Chiefs, I mean, think about how big of a deal that is. It's worth a bet because you not only have that short-term flip asset here for CJ Stroud if they make it to the next round, but you also have a long-term investment. I mean, CJ Stroud's a great player, and I think when you look at his entire portfolio, these cards are going to be just as popular and demanded as the ones from like all the Topps composite sets and all that stuff. So yeah, I would even, and if you want even something even more liquid, look at this. I mean, 2059 population, a lower hit rate, so it puts even more emphasis on the PSA 10, and you have that card back in August selling for almost $1,000, like a bunch of $1,000 transactions, and then huge midseason dip, guys. Huge midseason dip. But Nico Collins is healthy. He goes off in this game this past week, and shredding man coverage. I don't know, man. This is worth some looks here because this is what his raw cards sells or used to sell for, and it's a low conversion rate of 40%. It's below 50%. So it's not like all cards get, turned into 10s. I mean, look how many 9s there are, a ton of 9s. So, and those are, down to $100 here. So those PSA 10s at under 400, definitely a buy with opportunity here. Lab McConkey is definitely on the sell side right now, especially if you're pulling nice cards of him out of packs. He finished the season on a super high note. When you see a Silver Prism rookie auto, non-serial numbered, for $140, this is on the high side for this card, big time. We looked at Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, look at Jahmyr Gibbs Silver Prism rookie auto. It's gonna be around that price point, I'm pretty sure. You have the PSA 10s at $380. So yeah, I'm guessing a raw card because here's a PSA 9 for $160. There's his rookie ticket auto from Optic Contenders for $100. And bet you if you keep scrolling down, you're going to find there's a Silver Prism rookie ticket auto for $130. So if I found a Silver Prism rookie auto, you got $175 there, so still a little bit higher. But you can basically see like that. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs was a number 12 overall pick from Alabama and put up almost 2,000 all-purpose yards this year, finished as the number 2 overall running back on a points per game basis with 20 total touchdowns. And you compare that to Lad McConkey, who's an early second-round pick out of Georgia, out of the playoffs now, puts up 1,346 receiving yards. Very solid in rookie year, but only 8 touchdowns, number 13 overall wide receiver. And his Silver Prism rookie autos going for about the same price as Jahmyr Gibbs. Wow, that tells you right there, you need to be selling Lab McConkey because you'll be able to buy back in later, guys. This is a lot of new product hype. Got a lot of new cards out for Lab McConkey. So you're pulling him out of a pack, especially those good cards like that. Set your prices higher and see if you can capitalize. Right now is a great time to sell Lad McConkey. All right, before we wrap up, let me give my predictions for the divisional round and share another life update with you guys here at the end of this video. All right, so my predictions, man. I'm always rooting for the underdogs against the Chiefs in the playoffs, so I'm going with the Texans here. I would love to see them knock off the Chiefs. Be pretty incredible. Commanders, Lions. I think the Lions win at home here, but it's another good game. This game should truly go over when you think about how dynamic both of these offenses are. And then on Sunday, Rams versus Eagles. I think Eagles handle business here at home. The Rams have had a great run, and they got quite a few lucky plays on defense last week that I don't think they're going to be able to get on the Eagles. But, of course, the turnover battle is a huge deal. And those kind of big defensive plays really, really turn the tide. But I don't think that's going to happen against the Eagles. I think, if anything, the Eagles are going to get to Stafford and force that the other way around. So going with the Eagles there. And then that would put Eagles-Lions in the championship game for the NFC. And it would put the Texans against... I got to go with the Bills here, man. I'm going with the Bills here at home. This is going to be some crazy weather potentially. Sunday, 6:30. I don't think the Bills lose this one, but it's going to be a close game again. Yeah, man, that's going to be a close game. Really, really exciting football. Let me know, guys, in the comments section below what your predictions are here. But I think Texans, Bills in the finals versus the Eagles and the Lions here. So yeah, as many of you noticed, it's been very difficult for me to put out the volume of content that I used to put out. There's been a lot of changes at my day job that has required and demanded a lot more of me. And I've been working a lot, guys, and it's been very stressful because there's been a lot on my plate. And then you combine that with my kids starting school for the first time in their life, and so I've been a lot more involved with them and their school, and there's been a lot going on in that realm that unfortunately takes priority, and I have to be responsible for that stuff over football cards. As much as I love to watch football, as much as I love to collect and invest in football cards, as much as I love to make these football card videos for you guys, buying and selling strategy. I love analyzing the market data, and it is a lot of fun, but it takes a lot of time as well. So that's been a challenge. And then this week, keep Carter in your prayers because he's been dealing with a family emergency. He's been dealing with the loss of a family member that's been pretty difficult on him and his wife. So keep him in your prayers, and he'll be back. With that kind of things just got in my schedule that I could not get around earlier this week. And in fact, today is my son's birthday. We're going to be doing some stuff here this afternoon, and it'll be fun. In fact, I've been taking more home videos lately and actually posting those on a second channel that I just started up because my dad got me a GoPro for Christmas. So I've been making home videos. I've only made one so far, but we're planning to make more. It's a lot of fun because it intertwines with the family. So I get to spend time with the kids and the family doing these activities, and at the same time make videos, which I love. I really do love editing and making videos and designing content. It's a lot of fun for me. It's very fulfilling. So and the kids really enjoy it as well. So yeah, I'll link that in the description if you guys want, or you can just type in Kaysen Family Quest. It's synonymous with football card quest. I do think everything in life that we do is a quest. And so you can join that journey if you want and check out kind of what I'm doing with the family outside of football cards. I'd love to have your support over there. It is, once again, Kaysen Family Quest. And I wish all of you guys luck this weekend in the divisional round. Hit me up on any social media platforms if you have any other questions, or drop them in the comments section below, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.